Hello, you beautiful people. So, I know this is YouTube, and I don't really care for TikTok too much, but I wanted to take a second to talk about TikTok, my thoughts on what's going on, and how we/you can do things in the future. So first of all, was it a good thing or a bad thing that TikTok was banned? I don't know. I don't particularly like TikTok, but I do see the immense value that it has in information sharing and in the economy boosting abilities that it has with linking to Amazon and other financially binding apps. So I do believe that it makes a lot of money for the US. And there was a senator, I believe, of Massachusetts, don't quote me on that, but I believe it was Massachusetts, that was talking about the fact that it did bring in income for the United States through TikTok. But with the TikTok ban that's happening, and I believe that the day that this video is coming out is when it's going to be happening, there's a lot to consider with all of that. The first thing that I want to consider with it is, as far as TikTok goes, a lot of people are talking about the idea that, or at least the propaganda is saying that TikTok was banned because they're selling, or China is getting our information, yet the actual company itself isn't owned by China at all. It's owned by a Singaporean man who, in all reality, TikTok is actually banned in China for the reason being that China doesn't want the people of their nation being able to easily and quickly not only know what's happening in the rest of the world, but number two, they don't want their people kind of talking to each other and getting organized. I actually visited China a long time ago, and you're not allowed to use Facebook there. You have to have a special VPN and disconnecting, so you gotta take some steps to disconnect everything so that you can get on Facebook, because if you post anything while you're there negative about if you post anything there negative about China while you're in China, you can get in a lot of trouble for that. So they don't want their people hearing what we have to say outside of China about them, and they don't want their people getting organized. Interestingly enough, TikTok is banned in a lot of countries, and from what I saw, all of them that have banned TikTok internally have been more communist-leaning locations, places that, or at least heavily socialist-leaning locations. I'm not saying being communist or socialist is a good or bad thing. This is not a political channel. However, what I do want to bring up about that is it's very interesting that the countries in which the U.S. deems to be communist-leaning, that the U.S. does not want to be connected to, is doing very similar things to those countries. And you can look up that list and make up your own opinions on that. So I guess I should move on to why. Why do I think TikTok was banned in the U.S. in reality? I don't think China is getting any of our information, and I do think if they were, it wouldn't be anything crazy. What are they going to care about in China, that we're watching the 10th consecutive cat video back to back to back? I really don't think that's a concern for the U.S. government. I think, and this is I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here, so, prepare for craziness. These are just my thoughts, but I personally think that the U.S. is not happy with the rate in which not only are we able to consume information, not through main media channels like Facebook, CNN, Fox, whatever media channels you're considering, but secondly, I think that they're not able to control what we have to say about everything. People are organized on TikTok. People are able to get organized on TikTok, and that is not a good thing for a governmental body of any kind. In the past, when people have gotten organized and collected and put their thoughts together besides what the governmental body has provided, it has generally been really negative for the current standing government. So I do think that they are painting this picture of it not being good for us, when in reality, the people that it's really not good for is the government itself. So yes, there is that to consider. Next thing that I wanted to kind of touch on is, worldwide, it seems, we are not able to use TikTok as Americans in general. at least for a period. So I am in Peru right now, as some of you may know, and I was also locked out of TikTok as well for a period of time. Even though I'm not on US soil, and even though I am connected to Peruvian channels, my account was temporarily shut down. So I read an article about this. Essentially what the idea behind this ban is they have to take it off of app stores. They can't discontinue the use in the United States, but they have to take it off app stores. So what I believe happened, and earlier today I logged into TikTok and I got this right here, basically saying that TikTok has been banned in my country and that they're hoping Trump is going to fix it, something along those lines. You can read it. Aside from the presidency and things that are going to affect this particular course of action, I personally believe that what they had to do is they had to temporarily ban TikTok for a period of time so that people uninstalled it, so that now they can no longer reinstall it. I think from what Trump is saying that he will do something about it. Don't know. Again, this is not a political channel, so when it comes down to what presidents will and won't do and what I think about them, it doesn't matter on this particular channel. Why I think this is important for me, particularly as a traveling and expat channel, is it is really interesting that an app that, granted I don't use very often, was also discontinued for me in another country where I should have full access to it. And for that reason, I think because my phone maybe originated in the US, I think that might have played into it. But I also think the creators of TikTok want to put pressure on us as the United States citizens to push back against our government to get our freedom of speech back. Because at the end of the day, I know this company is owned by someone that is not American. However, it has done a lot for the freedom of speech of Americans. And just to kind of put a point into that and to delve into that, I remember during deep COVID time, there were people that were making posts about whether you should get vaccinated or not, and the people that were making posts about not the reasons why you shouldn't get vaccinated were getting shadow banned, blocked by Meta. And again, not a political channel. What you decide to do with your vaccination is not, the fact that that's even a political issue is crazy to me, but what you decide to do with your vaccinations is completely up to you. However, I think we can agree that people of the United States of America, we lean pretty heavily into our freedom of speech, and whenever we say something online, it being taken down is a violation of that. Now, I'm not going to get into that too deeply because there are very good times when taking things down is very important, but yeah. So I just thought it was really interesting. I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on this TikTok ban. Personally, as a YouTube creator, I think it's going to be good for me for a period, just because more people are going to have nothing to do. And let's be honest, guys, YouTube is way better than Meta. Just across the board, YouTube is a better platform. I believe that. Maybe not, they do have different reasons and functions, but I think overall design, makeup, everything, YouTube is just a far better platform. So I am excited for the potential crossover of people coming over. But yeah, it's a really interesting time right now for all of us and what we have to consider. I think we need to come together and connect on what it is that we stand for and why. And I think it's time for us to stop fighting so much about who's right and wrong and try to hear each other out. Because I've heard a lot of very different viewpoints on TikTok and why it should be taken down. And most of the viewpoints that were for it being taken down were people who were uneducated on the subject. And I think that is a huge problem with the United States. People are not educated about the social issues and just dive in to start fighting on them. I've done research on this topic. I'm happy to converse with you guys in the comments if you want to challenge my point of view. I will be giving back information. I can even cite it if you ask me to, but I will be giving back information that I know and understand through research. Of course, research can be wrong, but anyway, I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts. If you want to see something that's not like this, that's not like TikTok related and just me living my life here in Peru, this video is perfect for you. Otherwise, if you just want to stay in touch, click right down here. There's a little bubble. Ooh, wrong way. Right there, we can stay in touch for whenever my next video comes out. And maybe I'll make one when TikTok comes back online, because I do think it will. Otherwise, I'll see you soon.